The day everything began, Yu was at the school festival selling preserved flower accessories with a constipated face, but no one even looks his way and most of his products go unsold, and he drags his sorry self back to the clubroom. But when he returns to the clubroom, he finds a girl waiting for him. Her name is Himari, a fellow student who had stayed behind at the stall after Yu left. To his surprise, she has sold most of the products he struggled to sell. She hands him the money she earned and lightly mocks him for giving up too soon. He explains that his dream is to open a flower accessory studio, even though his parents find his hobby fruity and want him to pursue a more stable job. Himari initially laughs at his sob story, but admits that she kind of respects the grind. Then, for some reason, she offers to help him sell more of his stuff. From that moment, the strange friendship between Yu and Himari begins. Fast forward 2 years and somehow Yu has actually made progress. He is now running a small online business selling flower accessories, and Himari's still helping him out, promoting his stuff with her charm. One afternoon, Yu's in his usual habitat, the lab, drowning in flower petals and loneliness when Himari sneaks up and jumps on his back like a clingy cat. She complains that he's ignoring her again, and Yu immediately turns into an angry house husband, scolding her for distracting him. But she tightens her grip and teases him, indicating that they've become the closest of friends. 2 years ago at the science club, when they managed to sell all the accessories, Yu had asked her why she helped him in the first place. Himari said she just liked accessories and didn't want his effort to rot in the void. Yu, being the simp he is, gave her a handmade necklace as a thank you, and Himari started wearing it every day like it was a trophy. In the present, they're chilling at a sushi restaurant, discussing life in the most cringy way possible. Himari mentions she's been getting modeling offers, but she keeps rejecting them just to stay by Yu's side. She jokes that if he doesn't open his store by the time he's 30, she'll marry him out of pity. During dinner, the topic of relationships comes up, and Himari says Yu's dating life is non-existent because she's always too close to him. She admits she's gone on a few dates, but nothing serious. Then she casually drops the bomb that her parents might arrange her marriage since she belongs to a very wealthy family. Yu becomes dejected by the news, but Himari laughs it off, saying she was just joking. The next day at school, Himari's working on her laptop when a random senior walks up and asks if she's dating Yu. She refuses to answer and simply walks away, calling him an idiot for being so ugly. But deep down, she wonders about her own feelings, uncertain whether what she feels for Yu is simple friendship or something more. She tells herself that if Yu ever falls for someone else, she'll accept it as long as their bond remains unbroken. Meanwhile, Yu stands by a vending machine after class, lost in thought, when a hot girl with long black hair walks up beside him. He immediately turns red like a tomato, but then suddenly notices that she's wearing one of his goofy bracelets that hadn't sold well. Before he can say anything, the bracelet suddenly snaps and breaks. Feeling bad, Yu offers to fix it, but the girl looks irritated and tells him to mind his own business. Embarrassed by the incident, Yu runs away from there like he has explosive diarrhea. Later in class, Himari keeps texting Yu after hearing about the vending machine incident. She teases him endlessly, calling the girl his secret admirer. Yu eventually gets annoyed and yells at her, only to earn a scolding from the teacher. After class, Himari is full of energy like a chimp on shrooms while Yu remains silent. This is when a classmate named Shinji appears, calling Yu his old friend. Himari's cheerful mood instantly shifts when she sees him. As it turns out, the two had dated briefly back in middle school, though Himari insists it had only been out of pity. She then peeks out the window and loudly announces to everyone that Shinji used to plow multiple backsides with his biological instrument back then. The two argue aggressively until Yu interrupts, asking why Shinji came. Shinji explains that the girl Yu met earlier was his friend Rian, who wanted her bracelet repaired but didn't have the courage to ask him. Later, during lunch, Himari and Yu discuss Ryan's sudden appearance. Himari recalls that Ryan's older sister had helped promote Yu's junk after the school festival years ago, which is likely how Ryan ended up with one. After school, Ryan visits Yu again so he can fix the broken bracelet. While he studies it carefully, Ryan misreads his silence as hesitation and assumes he can't repair it. She leans towards him, looking possessed, but then Himari shows her angry reflection in a mirror, causing her to stumble and fall backward. A furious Ryan grabs Himari by the face and lifts her up, accusing her of making fun of her just like they used to when they were younger. Himari retaliates by grabbing Ryan's bazookas, but it only makes things worse and she ends up getting manhandled around the room. Eventually, Himari is forced to sit aside while Yu quietly finishes repairing the bracelet. Himari comments softly that when Yu focuses on his work, he becomes a different person, completely absorbed by his craft. When Yu finishes, he finds both girls laughing as it turns out they had secretly tied his hair into small braids while he was working. He panics like they've just destroyed his life, which only makes them laugh even harder. Later, Himari and Rishun have a heart-to-heart gossip while waiting for the bus. Ryan asks about Himari's relationship with Yu, and she explains that they've been best friends since middle school. Ryan hesitates but admits she's always admired the unknown creator of her bracelet, and now realizes it was Yu. She says her mother once told her that people with pure hearts can create things that bring happiness to others, and she believes Yu is one of them. Hearing those words leaves Himari silent as she fears her friendship with Yu might be in danger. The next morning, Yu is having breakfast, still thinking about how he was approached by a baddie like Rian. His sister Sakura walks in and immediately notices that he seems more tired and distracted than usual. She presses him for an explanation, and Yu tells her everything about Ryan and how she asked him to fix her bracelet. Sakura points out that this might actually be good for her loser brother because all his recent accessories have started to look similar, made only with Himari in mind. She thinks that talking to another girl could inspire him to improve his work. Yu tries to brush it off, insisting that his sales are already going well, but Sakura counters that he hasn't had a single repeat customer. She reminds him of the deal he made. If he fails to open his store by the age of 30, he will have to give up and take over the family convenience store and possibly even marry Himari. At school, Yu can't stop thinking about what his sister said. He realizes she might be right. His useless shop doesn't attract repeat customers because he has only been making what he personally likes. Elsewhere, the cunning Shinji approaches Ryan and offers to help her win over Yu, but she doesn't say a word. Just then, Himari approaches and gets into a brief argument with Shinji for absolutely no reason. It is only broken up when two girls from the tennis club come to call Shinji, forcing him to leave. Himari then tries to strike up a conversation with Ryan, but it only makes her uncomfortable. Later, Yu is watering the flowers in the school garden when Himari suddenly jumps on his back like a desperate woman. She tells him she noticed how distracted he seemed during class and wants to know what's going on. Yu explains that he's considering making some improvements to his accessories, exploring romantic themes as suggested by his sister. Himari laughs and teases him for focusing on romance, but Yu tells her that he wants to think about the customer's perspective, not just his own preferences. Himari agrees enthusiastically, surprising Yu as he always assumed she wasn't interested in romantic stuff. The conversation then turns a bit cringy as they talk about love and attraction. Himari asks if he likes girls like Ryan, but Yu makes it clear that he's a weirdo who doesn't have any urge to kiss girls. Himari argues that by experiencing it once, they could understand feelings of closeness. She proposes that they try kissing as neither of them has experienced it before. Yu thinks it's a bad idea because they're friends, but she playfully grabs his hand and gets close to him. At this point, Yu seemingly gives in and he closes his eyes to brace for impact, but nothing happens. He learns that it was just a prank.
Come on, man.
And Himari bursts out laughing, seeing his dyslexic reaction. After the playful banter, she tells him to keep Saturday free but refuses to say what she has planned, leaving him even more nervous and curious. When Saturday arrives, Yu is picked up by Himari's overly energetic brother, Hibari, who immediately teases him, showing how much he's missed him. They chat briefly about Sakura, and Hibari reveals that she was very popular and talented during school. Hearing this makes Yu a bit self-conscious as he's the complete polar opposite of his sister, untalented and ugly. But Hibari reassures Yu that he's a good flower accessory maker and tells him to focus on it. After dropping him off, Hibari speeds away from there like his girlfriend just invited him to her house to rearrange her guts. Just then, Himari appears from behind and immediately taunts Yu for dressing like a construction worker. She reveals that Ryan will be joining them, and this makes the nerd really nervous. Later at a restaurant, Yu struggles to talk to Ryan, who seems shy and reserved. Himari breaks the tension by suggesting that Ryan could model for his next accessory photo shoot. Ryan is surprised but agrees after Himari explains that this is her way of repaying Yu for fixing her bracelet. They plan to shoot at Ryan's family's confectionery shop, which surprises Ryan further, and she quickly calls her mother for permission. The group then visits an accessory shop to select materials. Yu observes Rion's preferences carefully, noting which accessories she likes and how she reacts to certain colors and designs. Himari continues teasing Yu throughout the encounter, making him euphoric like a boy who's watching corn for the first time. Shortly after, Yu puts a red necklace on Ryan, and this makes her blush deeply, revealing a side of her he hasn't seen before. When Himari notices this, she once again tries to crack an insensitive joke, but Ryan is having none of it, and she retaliates by lifting up Himari with her macho hands. Later, they visit a flower shop to gather inspiration for new accessories. Ryan is drawn to large violet flowers, and Yu discusses which flowers would best suit her preferences. He explains why roses wouldn't be ideal and suggests flowers that subtly represent love. Himari leaves them alone, briefly to get drinks, intentionally allowing Yu and Ryan to interact privately. Yu seizes the opportunity to ask Ryan about her past and how she became friends with Himari. Ryan explains that Himari was actually a loner when they first met, and it was Ryan who approached her first. Yu is shocked by the revelation, as Himari has now transformed into the most energetic monkey he has ever seen. As their conversation unfolds, Yu finds himself staring at Ryan's massive melons, and he feels a slight tingling down there. He immediately turns away and starts rambling about flowers and memories to change the topic. Yu recalls a childhood incident at a botanical garden, where he got separated from his family. As he looked for them, he came across a crying girl who was also in the same situation as him. The two then set off to look for their parents, but the girl was soon captivated by some red flowers being displayed nearby. Seeing her eyes inflate like balloons, Yu realized she loved it, so he decided to buy it for her. The girl then promised to wear it every day, and soon she found her parents and parted ways with him. Yu reveals that he still remembers that day like yesterday, and it marked the beginning of his love for flowers and his desire to preserve their beauty. Ryan, who had been listening quietly, suddenly asks if that flower was a hibiscus, and then confesses that she remembers it clearly and loved it. Yu realizes with shock and disbelief that Ryan is the same girl from his childhood, the inspiration behind everything he has worked for. As the day ends, Yu wonders where Himari went, but Ryan doesn't care, and she simply suggests they exchange numbers before parting ways. Meanwhile, Himari is already at home, thinking about Yu and Rion. She realizes she doesn't need to intervene for them, as fate seems to be naturally bringing them together. She feels happy but slightly worried as she watches Yu with Ryan, sensing that something deeper is forming between them. One morning, a zombie-looking Yu drags himself to school as it turns out he hasn't slept properly for the past few nights. His mind is constantly looping through Ryan's confession, and the realization that she might have been his first love all along only makes things more confusing for him. Since that night, he hasn't managed to talk properly with Himari either. Whenever he tries to message her, she either doesn't reply or gives short, meaningless answers. When he sees her at school later, she greets him with a smile, but Yu instantly notices that something feels off about her. Unable to ignore it, Yu asks if something is wrong, but Himari insists that everything is fine and claims she just needs to maintain a 3-meter distance from him. Soon after, Ryan arrives there and greets Yu cheerfully, but she immediately senses that something feels awkward between the two. When Yu explains the situation, she confidently tells him to leave it to her. She then pulls out a bag of cookies, which ends up luring the dumb Himari quite easily. As the trio walks towards class, the two girls throw shades at each other while Yu quietly listens like a creep. He wonders how two people with such different personalities manage to stay such close friends. Before heading to class, Ryan hands Yu a small packet of cookies she made herself. Right after Ryan departs, Himari pops up and teases Yu about how romantic he sounded. She keeps nagging up during their lunch break too, where she jokes that she should probably leave them together from now on. But this offends Yu and he corners her against the railing, asking why she has been acting so weird lately. He also makes it clear that Ryan is just a friend and that they don't have any feelings for each other. As Himari stares at him, her face starts turning red, and Yu can't help but admire how cute she looks. He compares her cheeks to freshly baked pizza, but deep down he's desperate to clap them. Before he can say anything impulsive, Himari shoves a cold drink into his hand and tells him to cool off before walking away. Yu then stands there for a while, still fixated on those red cheeks she had earlier. Later that afternoon, Yu focuses on his accessory work in the science lab, trying to distract himself. Ryan stands beside him, quietly watching his useless working process with curiosity. She asks what he's doing, and Yu explains that he's recoloring the preserved flower petals to bring back their natural tone. He talks about how tedious the process is, but also how necessary it feels to preserve the flower's true beauty. Ryan listens carefully, but Himari starts teasing him like usual. When he's had enough, he orders Rian to help him out, and she restrains Himari like always. Yu sighs and tells Ryan that his projects always take longer because Himari never lets him work in peace. Himari pretends to be offended and claims he secretly enjoys her company. She reminds him that he used to flirt with her before Ryan started hanging out with him. Yu scolds her for saying such nonsense, but Himari only grins and takes it further by teasing him. About that time, he almost kissed her. An embarrassed Yu freezes for a second and denies it, but Ryan is already uncomfortable by this point, so she quietly leaves the room. Seconds later, Himari is already rolling on the table in laughter. She calls him to help her up, and despite everything, the loser obliges like a loyal dog. But the moment he grabs her hand, she pulls him closer and suggests they should kiss. Yu's heart starts racing as he stares at her, unsure if she's joking or serious. He is completely hypnotized by her charm and he slowly leans closer. But just as he's about to close the distance, he hears something click. It turns out Himari had been recording everything on her phone and she bursts out in laughter. Yu becomes furious when he sees his awkward photos and mutters that he was actually about to kiss her, to which Himari says he took too long anyway. When Yu asks what she means, she doesn't reply and simply walks out, leaving him standing there in silence. That evening, Himari walks home with her usual monkey energy gone. She keeps replaying what happened in her mind, trying to convince herself it was just a joke, though a part of her knows it wasn't. The next day, Yu is visited by Shinji, who always carries around a Chinese fan for some reason. He teases Yu about becoming more popular lately and brings up Ryan's confession, saying she finally gathered the courage to tell Yu after holding it in for so long. Yu denies that anything like that happened, insisting their relationship isn't romantic, but Shinji only smirks and tells him to stop lying to himself. Yu once again denies it, insisting that they are just friends and nothing more. He also reveals how Himari has been acting all weird as of late, which surprises Shinji so much that he decides to observe her carefully. Later, the trio is in the science lab, where Orion observes Yu's collection of preserved flowers and accessories, admiring how realistic and delicate they look. He then hands her some accessories and asks her to stand by the window for some good shots. However, after several tries from his ancient phone, none of the pictures come out good, as Yu believes they aren't capturing her real beauty. Just when he's about to give up, Himari whispers something in Ryan's ear, which completely changes her expression. Her eyes widen, her melons become visible, and she suddenly starts looking like an actual model. Without any delay, Yu captures the moment, and he happily announces that the emotion in the photo is exactly what he was looking for. The next evening, Yu, Himari, Ryon, and Shinji gather at a small celebration for Yu's new accessory collection launch. Soon, Yu brings out his new design and gently puts it on Ryon, making her blush. Being the opportunistic that he is, Shinji jokes that Yu should make Ryon his main model because they look perfect together. Ryon smiles and says she's fine with that, but Himari interrupts, saying, "You can't do that." She awkwardly claims it's because people online can be cruel to models. The two then start bickering, but Yu interrupts and says it's actually a good idea. After all, Himari's the one who told him he needed new inspiration for his work. He reminds her she once said she doesn't understand romantic things, so choosing Ryon as his model is the perfect move. Upon hearing this, Himari's frustration boils over. She grabs a glass of water and splashes it right on Yu. Then she bites the straw between her teeth, glaring at him, and coldly says that they should end their friendship. Yu simply stands there, frozen, unable to understand why she's such an attention seeker. After the incident, a paranoid Yu keeps checking his phone, seeing all the unread messages he sent her. It's clear she's upset that Ryon has become his new main model, but he doesn't understand why she's reacting so strongly. The next day in class, the two of them completely ignore each other. To get her attention, Yu deliberately takes out a pack of chips and starts eating them in the middle of class, something they always did. Himari tries to ignore it, but she grows really uncomfortable. Yu then yells that if things keep going like this, they won't be able to open a store together, and the statement breaks Himari's heart. She hides her face and begins crying while all the students in class stare at Yu as if he's become an OnlyFans pimp. Just then, his phone buzzes with an email from Himari. It's a transfer notice claiming she's moving to Tokyo for a modeling opportunity. This rocks Yu's world, and he demands to know if it's true, but she lets out a maniacal laugh and just bolts away without saying anything. Later, Ryon also shows up with the same email, worried that she caused this mess by becoming Yu's model. But he reassures her it's not her fault and decides they should find Himari together. They prepare a small setup with her favorite snacks and drinks and hide behind some bushes, hoping she'll be lured like a pesky rat. After a while, Himari eventually appears and mocks their trap, but still grabs the cookies and bolts. Yu runs after her, catching her by the wrist, and asks if she's mad because Ryon replaced her. But Himari slaps him hard, saying it's not about Ryon, it's about him. He asked if Marius had a grudge against humans, and Marius said he did, then accuses her of treating him like a toy. In the middle of their argument, her necklace, one of Yu's handmade accessories, snaps and falls to the ground. Himari rushes to pick it up, but the clumsy Yu accidentally steps on it, cracking the pendant. That moment breaks her completely. Crying, she tells him he never really saw her as a friend and simply replaced her with someone else without even realizing how much it hurt. Himari then rips off the rest of her necklace and runs away from there, declaring that she's leaving to find a place where she'll be truly appreciated. Later that evening, Yu sits alone in the garden, depressed like a husband with rising debt. Shinji soon arrives with a drink and the two engage in conversation. When Yu asks why Shinji pushed for Ryon to be the main model, Shinji admits he just wanted to see everyone happy, maybe even give Yu and Ryon a chance to get closer. But then he asks Yu whether he really sees Himari only as a friend. He says that if that were true, Yu wouldn't be so affected by her absence. He then advises Yu to figure out what he truly wants before he loses everything. Upon hearing all of this, Yu finally admits that the playboy Shinji is a good friend. Later that night, Yu messages Himari asking why she's really leaving for Tokyo. She replies coldly that she needs to find her worth, and that he wouldn't understand anyway. Yu then starts remembering how isolated he used to be, how nobody cared about his flower accessories until Himari showed up and changed everything. He apologizes with a corny cat emoji, hoping her heart will melt, but she rudely leaves it on scene. Meanwhile, Himari is giggling at home as it turns out the entire Tokyo transfer story was fake. The serial attention seeker did all of this just to make Yu panic and make him realize how important she is to him. Himari convinces herself he'll soon come begging for forgiveness. She even starts thinking of silly punishments for him once he apologizes, like forcing him to kiss her. But the next day, Yu finally grows a pair and ignores her completely. She grows worried and checks social media for any clues that night, only to see a picture of him and Ryon happily having some ice cream. A few days later, her brother Hibari notices her pathetic state and asks what's wrong. When she confesses the whole situation, he gets furious, telling her she's been emotionally manipulating Yu. He reminds her of their middle school days and how he once helped her promote Yu's handmade accessories by talking to Ryan's sister, who is a big model. The favor embarrassed him, but he still did it because he saw potential in Yu's passion. Hibari continues scolding his sister for forgetting her promise to always support Yu's dream. When he begins pinching her cheeks, she becomes overwhelmed and finally admits that she's fallen in love with Yu. Hibari softens but asks her to think about what truly matters, whether she wants Yu for herself or because she genuinely loves him. The next day, Himari keeps thinking about her brother's words. She eventually messages Yu and the simp replies almost instantly, saying he has something important to tell her as well. They then meet in the science lab, where Yu hands her an envelope but accidentally gives her the wrong one. When she opens it, she's stunned to see a letter of withdrawal from school. Caught red-handed, Yu confesses that he's decided to follow her to Tokyo. He says Shinji told him to choose the most important thing in his life, and for him, that's her. Himari is shocked and tells him that if he goes, he won't have time to make accessories and will have to work part-time just to get by. Yu says that doesn't matter because there's no point making accessories if she's not the one wearing them. Hearing that, Himari's heart softens and she declares that she's no longer going to Tokyo. Yu comes really close to her and advises her to chase her dreams, but the sudden closeness startles her, and she accidentally spills her drink, splashing her face. Embarrassed, she pushes him away, not wanting her first kiss to happen in such a mess. The cringy conversation finally ends when she laughs and says they can go back to how things were. She agrees to let Ryan stay as a model, but insists she still wants to be his main model. Yu agrees and gives her another envelope, the one he meant to hand her earlier. Inside is a newly repaired necklace with a matching ring attached. He explains it's something special he made for her, using a preserved flower and a small embedded seed. Himari loves it so much that she jumps on his back and makes him put the ring on her, as if they're getting engaged. She then reminds him of their old promise that if they're both still single at 30, they'll marry each other. Yu chuckles and agrees, saying if he's still single by then, he definitely will. Yu has always been drawn to beautiful things, and nothing fascinates him more than flowers. The way their colors blend and fade inspired him to start making jewelry based on them. He dreams of one day opening his own studio filled with designs inspired by those delicate patterns. Back in school, the other boys were interested in sports and narcotics, but Yu used to secretly read books about flowers during lectures. Everything changed when Himari walked into his life. The first time she invited him to lunch, he tried to decline, wanting to eat alone like a herpes patient, but she handed him a drink and dragged him along anyway. Her friends seemed disappointed that she was ignoring them, but Himari just laughed it off and kept talking to Yu like they knew each other forever. They ended up eating together in the science lab, where Himari immediately called him out for avoiding her lately. Yu admitted that some students told him to stay away from her because she's popular, and he isn't. He didn't want to embarrass her, so he quietly kept his distance. Himari rolled her eyes and showed him her phone, revealing a string of messages from a boy who had been flirting with her despite already having a girlfriend. She said people only see the surface. They chase popularity but never understand sincerity. She added that she's tired of those shallow games and would rather spend time with a loser like you. Then she held his hand and made him promise that they'll stay best friends forever, but that he'll never fall in love with her so that their friendship remains intact. As soon as Yu agreed, she played a recording of their conversation and burst into laughter. Yu tried to snatch her phone, but they ended up chasing each other around until they both collapsed in exhaustion. In the present, Yu's feelings for Himari have changed. He's completely fallen for her, even though he still hasn't confessed. When she greets him one morning, he tries to act cool, but Himari instantly teases him for looking like he's constipated. As they talk, Yu notices that the ring he made for her isn't on her finger anymore, it's hanging from her neck as a pendant. She explains that she prefers it that way because it's special, being his first gift to her. He offers to make her a new belt, as this one is old, but she refuses. Her words make him blush, so he grabs her shoulders and jokingly says she should just date him. Himari stays calm, teasing him for thinking she'd fall for such a trick, but later in the bathroom, it's clear she was flustered and almost confessed how she really feels. Later that day, Yu is called to the staff office. It turns out he submitted blank papers and failed his exams because he was too busy crafting the new ring for Himari. The principal gives him one final chance and asks him to retake them on Sunday. When Himari learns of this, she offers to help him study and hands him her favorite drink for motivation. Around the same time, Yu's social media identity as the creator of the preserved flower accessories goes viral. Himari starts to feel insecure, worrying that now every girl will want to model for him. She believes that he will surely allow every single girl into his team because he's the biggest simp she's ever seen. But Yu reassures her that she'll always be his #1 model, which makes her blush so hard that she slaps him out of embarrassment. Just then, they turn around and are shocked to see that Ryan has been standing there all along. Having heard their conversation, she coldly excuses herself and departs from there. In class, Himari's thoughts spiral as she silently promises herself that she'll never let anyone take Yu away, even if she has to remain just his best friend. Later, she finds Shinji and demands to know why Yu's personal information got leaked online. He admits that he did it to help Rayan, believing she deserved a fair chance with Yu. He tells Himari that if she really cared about Yu, she should have gone with him to Tokyo when he wanted her to, but she hesitated, and now it's too late. His words make Himari furious, but she can do nothing but simply slurp her favorite drink like a weirdo. A few days later, Yu and Himari are on the bus together, heading to her house so her brother Hibari can help him study for his retakes. It's Yu's first visit in a year, and he's quite nervous. When they arrive, Himari reveals that her parents are away and that her brother isn't home either. Yu panics that she'll take advantage of him, but the moment he steps inside, Hibari welcomes him with a party streamer. Hibari seems to be over the moon that Yu is finally visiting him and declares that he'll do anything in his power to make sure Yu's accessory business succeeds. The teaching session soon starts, and when Yu notices a mountain of textbooks and Hibari's overly aggressive passion, he turns to Himari for help, but she apologizes and leaves him to study alone. Hours later, Yu feels drained from Hibari's intense tutoring. Himari then takes him to the bath, dressed in a light blue yukata that causes him distress down there. As he relaxes in the bath alone, she suddenly calls from outside, saying she's coming in to help him wash his back as an apology for leaving him with her brother earlier. Yu freaks out, saying it's inappropriate, but she just laughs and insists that they're best friends, so it's fine. Embarrassed and unsure how to respond, Yu finally gives up and tells her to do whatever she wants. She steps out for a moment to get ready, and when Yu hears someone re-enter, he assumes it's her. However, when he opens his eyes, it's none other than Hibari scrubbing his back with his sweaty hands. Yu screams in horror while Himari laughs uncontrollably outside the door. The next morning, Hibari drives both Yu and Himari to school. Himari sits quietly in the back as it turns out her brother gave her a good old scolding last night for being mean to Yu. When they arrive, she wipes her tears and says she's glad Hibari is gone. But as Yu turns to say something, Ryan appears, greeting only him with a cold smile. When she learns he stayed at Himari's house the night before, she grows aggressive and declares that she'll join them next time and stay over too. Yu spends the day distracted in class, unable to focus after the awkward tension between Himari and Ryan. To clear his mind, he texts Ryan to ask if she's really going to stay at Himari's place all night, and whether her mom is fine with it. Ryan replies that her mother agreed without hesitation. A moment later, Himari messages Yu too, teasing that he's busy flirting with Ryan during class instead of paying attention. He becomes irritated and shouts at her, only for the teacher to make an example out of him in class. Later at lunch, a couple of girls approach Yu, now aware that he's the mysterious designer behind the trending flower accessories. They ask him to make custom pieces for them, but before Yu can answer, Shinji steps in and tells them to leave, claiming that Yu is already working exclusively with him. The girls roll their eyes and walk away, calling Shinji possessive. Afterward, Yu confronts Shinji about leaking his identity online. Shinji admits it casually, saying it boosted Yu's popularity and helped Ryan make her move. Yu snaps that it caused unnecessary trouble, but Shinji just laughs, saying Ryan is still planning to visit him that night and might even stay over. Then, in his usual Sigma tone, he warns that it might lead to another round of drama between the girls. Yu begs him to intervene, but Shinji refuses, calling it payback for being a complete jerk and giving mixed signals to both the girls. Later on his way to class, Yu is approached by Himari, who says they should hold the study session at his house instead, since hers isn't available. Yu hesitates, saying his family might not like it, but Himari's innocent face and playful tone eventually make him cave. Just then, a classmate reminds Himari about her student council meeting after school, meaning Yu will end up alone with Ryan for a while. He panics and tells her to skip the meeting, but she ignores him and runs away. After class, Yu rushes home and is horrified by the amount of filth he has gathered in his room. Thankfully, he quickly cleans everything just in time for the doorbell to ring. When he opens the door, Ryan stands there in a cute outfit and wearing the flower accessory he had made for her. Yu awkwardly welcomes her inside and explains that his family is out working, and Himari will be late, so for now it's just the two of them. Trying to break the tension, Yu opens his secret closet, which reveals a miniature garden filled with various plants. He explains that he has safely stored them here to protect them from his cheeky fat cat. He also brings out a pot of flowers, claiming these particular ones help him relax while studying. Ryan is genuinely impressed by his goofy knowledge of flowers, and they eventually start studying together. Soon after, Yu learns that Ryan is ranked second in their class, so he asks who's the first. His expression suddenly changes when he learns that it's none other than the school playboy, Shinji. They then go through their lessons for a while, but Yu keeps losing focus as he's distracted by Ryan's bouncy volleyballs. To compose himself, Yu gets up and goes to the kitchen to make some tea. While he's gone, Ryan curiously lies down on his bed, drawn to a sweet smell. When he returns, he is stunned to find her sniffing his pillow, and she awkwardly walks back to the table. When Ryan reveals that she just wanted to smell the cherry fragrance, he explains that he spilled tea there once, which must be why it smells like that. Ryan once again lays on his bed, and with a seductive stare, she softly confesses that she still loves him. This leaves him shocked, and he remembers how she had once confessed to him in the past, after they became close during a rough patch with Himari. Yu had gently turned her down then, realizing his heart belonged to Himari, but Ryan never held it against him. She had returned the next day, smiling like nothing had changed. Now, that same look is in her eyes again, hopeful but calm. As Yu tries his best to focus on studying, Ryan dozes off on his bed. He tries to wake her before Himari arrives, but when he leans closer, she suddenly pulls him closer and shoves him against her natural pillows. Right then, Himari and Yu's sister Sakura open the door and freeze at the sight. Yu panics, trying to explain, while Ryan continues holding him in her sleep. When she eventually wakes up, she apologizes for her actions, and Sakura asks if she's Kuriha's sister. It turns out Sakura, Himari's brother, and Ryan's sister were once classmates during school. Sakura then chuckles, saying she never imagined someone as composed as Ryan would fall for her dumb brother. After teasing them for a bit, she quietly heads towards the kitchen. As Himari stares at Yu in anger, he casually reveals that Ryan has already confessed to him several times. Ryan also gently smiles, admitting her actions, which sends Himari over the edge. She gets up and angrily accuses Yu for being a playboy, but Ryan silences her by casually lifting her up in the air. She then looks at Yu and asks if she was really his first crush. Yu awkwardly admits that Ryan was indeed his first love, but he doesn't feel that way anymore. Even after hearing this, Ryan doesn't get discouraged. She simply smiles and says she'll take that as motivation. Yu then changes the topic and asks why they were arguing earlier and if everything is fine now. Ryan admits she decided to distance herself from Himari because even after knowing how deeply she loved Yu, Himari still intended to take him with her to Tokyo. Yu says that it was his decision to follow her, and Ryan also realizes that she had overreacted. She reveals that it was the playboy Shinji out of all people who helped her see clearly. With that, Ryan tells Himari she wants to start over and become an equal part of their circle, helping Yu with his creative work and supporting both of them. Himari is touched by her sincerity and immediately agrees. The three of them then promise to work together as friends from now on, hoping this new bond will make things less complicated. Later that evening, as Hibari drives his sister home, he warns that she should stop letting her emotions control her. Himari fires back, telling him to worry about himself since he still spends time with Ryan's sister, despite claiming to dislike her. This annoys Hibari, and he asserts that she's lying to Yu too often, and that she needs to stop before she ruins everything. Himari admits she has a habit of lying when she feels cornered, but promises to be honest with Yu from now on. Days later, Yu gives his much-awaited exams, and he ends up scoring perfect marks. Still, he gets scolded by his teacher for not trying hard the first time. Weeks later, summer arrives, and all the students get excited to wear their trendy uniforms. Yu also puts on some nerdy clothes, and now that Ryan has joined his team, he's fully focused on working on his accessories to push his creativity further. At school, he runs into Himari wearing her classic summer uniform, radiating youthful energy. Yu can't help but stare at her, and she once again teases him for it. Even during class, their playful banter continues, and they go back and forth hurling insults. At one point, Himari leans in close to him, and he closes his eyes, expecting to finally lock lips. But it turns out to be yet another prank as Himari flicks him back to reality. Yu is so annoyed by the betrayal that he flicks her back, causing her to scream in agony. Later during lunch break, as the two are chatting over their favorite drink, Ryan approaches them in her new outfit. This time, even Himari is impressed by her cannons and can't help but stare at them. Yu also compliments her outfit and suggests that they should have a team meeting to discuss their upcoming accessories. A while later, they sit on a bench and talk about ways on how they can promote their products. Ryan is so clueless that she gets genuinely impressed when Himari casually suggests putting all their products online. As the trio is busy chatting, two friends, Mao and Azu, arrive to request custom-made accessories. Yu quickly takes them to the science lab and shows them his inventory, asking if they like anything from here. But the girls are adamant on getting custom-made ones as it carries more meaning. Mao then reveals that her anniversary with her fat boyfriend is coming up, and she wants a matching set for them. This genuinely excites Yu as it's his first time making couple accessories, so he accepts the offer. But their crazy demands soon leave him exhausted, and he regrets making the deal with them. Now, the club not only has to manage custom orders, but also clear out older inventory before the preserved flowers lose their color. After a bit of thinking, Yu selects the Japanese cornel flower for the couple's accessories, symbolizing perseverance, reflecting their sincere feelings for each other, rather than just love. He asks the girls if it's a bit cheesy, but Himari appreciates it as it's coming from someone who's passionate about his craft. The only downside is that custom-made accessories are too expensive for general schoolers. Yu reveals that only 10% of his customers are from this school, meaning his buyers are mostly grown adults. But Himari is certain that with his growing popularity, the numbers will increase and they will achieve a lot of success. A few days later, Yu completes Mao and her boyfriend's matching accessories, delicate gemstones attached to necklace chains. He then awkwardly takes their neck's measurements to craft belts for them so that they can wear the accessories like a bunch of dogs. After that deal, Yu's shop quickly fills with customers, spreading rumors that wearing his accessories might help someone win a crush's heart. Mao and Azu, now acting as marketers, cleverly promote this, drawing even more customers. It turns out their classmates are now willing to pay any sort of money to get their hands on the prized accessories. Yu pushes himself to meet deadlines, and Himari's brother even sets up a private workspace for him so he can work undisturbed. At one point, Himari unexpectedly invites Yu to rest his head on her lap. Though initially reluctant, he eventually gives in and carefully lays his head on her lap. She then starts massaging his face playfully, and Yu silently reflects on his feelings for Himari, relieved that she isn't interested in anyone else. Because he doesn't have the cojones to confess his love, he simply wants her to be his best friend forever. With these disgusting thoughts in mind, Yu falls asleep in an awkward position. Himari simply observes him and says she's turned on by his reinvigorated passion for making accessories. But she's also scared that the more popular he becomes, the more distant he might become from her. The next day in the cafeteria, the trio is discussing their next batch of orders when Shinji suddenly appears like a 90s villain. He gives the naive Ryan some tips on how she can get close to Yu, which clearly offends Himari. She tells him that he should focus on his younger girlfriend, as rumor has it they're not doing so well lately. Shinji simply shrugs it off and invites Yu to have lunch with him, to which Yu reluctantly accepts. The two then go to the rooftop, and Yu asks if Shinji was the one who persuaded Mao and Azu to promote his accessories. Shinji denies it, claiming that they are good girls and they only act on their own will. He then changes the topic and says that Yu should embrace Ryan as she's the perfect match for him. Slightly annoyed, Yu asks why he's so hell-bent on helping Ryan out, and Shinji responds by finally revealing that he owes her a favor. Yu tries to inquire more, but Shinji abruptly gets up and walks away without revealing his full plans. Later on, Yu is called to the staff room, where a teacher explains that have received a complaint from the parents of a girl who recently bought his accessories. The parents claim that their daughter was coerced into buying the pathetic ornaments for a high price. Yu vehemently denies the accusations, claiming he made it based on her request and the price was agreed in advance. But the teacher says he can do nothing to help him. He instead asks if the accessories are sold according to regulations, and Yu reveals that he has enlisted it under his family's convenience store business and that his sister manages the legal side. The teacher says he will have a chat with her later and assures Yu that he can continue his passion, but he urges him to pause selling any accessories for now, as it is gaining unnecessary heat from the parents and might land him in trouble. Later, when Himari and Ryan learn about it, they are absolutely furious and decide to confront the girl who made the complaint. But when they confront her, she throws the accessory to the ground and rudely stomps on it. She admits that the only reason she bought it was because of the rumor claiming it would make her crush fall in love with her, but it turned out to be completely useless. A furious Himari rushes to confront the girl and her friend, but they push her aside like leftover food and leave from there. Meanwhile, a devastated Yu picks up the broken accessory as his eyes well up with tears. He feels that he has been a total failure, while the girls watch him bent down helplessly. A few days later, Sakura is called to school, where the teachers inform her of the issue. They reassure her that Yu is free to make accessories, but as the school board, they have to please the agitated parents as well. The teachers then request Sakura to refund all of the dissatisfied students, to which she agrees. As all of this is happening, Yu is at home, completely unaware and playing video games. On the other hand, Himari runs into Azu and Mao, who apologize for accidentally causing trouble by promoting his accessories too much. They ask her to pass the apology to Yu, and Himari agrees, though part of her wishes they had the courage to tell him themselves. Still, she can tell Yu needs support more than explanations right now. When she finds him in class later, she taps his shoulder and greets him like usual, pretending nothing's wrong, but Yu barely reacts. He simply goes inside the classroom like a defeated man who has no hope left in life. Himari feels bad for him, but she knows that this is just a small bump in the road towards their dream. After school, Shinji meets Yu and admits that he was the one who spread the rumors that started the chaos. He offers Yu a chance to hit him as payback, but instead of getting angry, Yu calmly accepts that Shinji never intended to hurt him. He simply says that Shinji's plan has worked before awkwardly walking away from there. Meanwhile, Himari and Ryan are also discussing the situation, wondering what will happen to their store. To cheer Yu up, Himari suggests they should take him on a short vacation, but Ryan thinks he's not ready for that, and they should simply leave him alone for now. The conversation soon turns hostile as the girls start accusing each other for causing the mess, but before it can escalate further, a dejected Yu arrives carrying a box of returned accessories. The trio then heads to the science lab and inspect the accessories one by one. They are furious to see that most of them have been damaged, which means reselling them is not an option anymore. Himari goes on a rant that this is very unfair because the students had agreed to buy them in advance. But a depressed Yu tells her that nothing can be done now. Trying to cheer him up, the girls then suggest they should go out during the weekend to buy some new summer clothes, but Yu shuts them up completely when he reveals that he's decided to quit the accessory business until they graduate. Thinking that he's not serious, a stunned Himari tries to talk him out of it, but Yu has already made up his mind. He claims he should focus more on his studies and not try to be a businessman this early in life. Upon hearing this, Himari becomes so frustrated that she spills her drink all over Yu, making his pathetic situation even worse. She continues pressing him to reconsider, which finally sends Yu over the edge. He shouts that opening the accessory store is his dream and no one can force him to rush it. His words tear through Himari like a hot knife through butter, and she impulsively grabs the box of ornaments to chuck it out the window, but she stops at the last moment and quietly leaves from there. That night at home, Himari lies silently on her bed, lost in thought. Her brother checks on her and quickly figures out that she and Yu had a fight. She reveals that Yu is quitting his business and that she only pushed him because she didn't want him to lose the spark that makes him who he is. To her surprise, Hibari says she did the right thing because at least she was honest with him. He then gently reminds her that Yu needs to face his own struggles and that her job isn't to decide his path, but to support him through it. Moreover, Yu needed this wake-up call because his obstacles like these are required to prepare him for the future. Hibari then ends the awkward conversation by suggesting that it's up to Yu to figure out the next step, and she should support whatever he decides. The next day, Yu meets with Himari on the rooftop, and he apologizes for taking things too far. But he makes it clear that his decision stands and that he will only focus on his studies from now on. Upon hearing this, a furious Himari declares that if he quits, she will stop being his best friend. She explains that their dream of building the shop together is shared, and she refuses to let him abandon it. Yu is taken aback by her attitude, but he still refuses to change his mind. A few days pass like this, and Himari starts avoiding Yu, often leaving early from school. But one evening, as Yu stands there like a sissy loser, Ryan approaches him and invites him to play video games with her. Even there, Yu acts like a simp as he focuses more on Ryan's cocomelons rather than the actual game. He's also amused by her pathetic gameplay, but it at least makes him smile for the first time in a long while. During a short cookie break, Ryan suddenly turns serious and tells him she doesn't think quitting suits him. He might be tired, but he's at his best when he's creating. Yu responds to this by handing her a worn-out ornament, saying he's realized that he was making these not because he loved the craft, but because it would help him be around Himari. He now thinks that he was being selfish, so it isn't right to continue the business. Ryan says he's overthinking it, and then abruptly confesses that she likes him once again, though she knows his heart belongs to Himari. Yu admits it's true, but she doesn't mind, and says she will still support him the same way she always has. Later that day, Yu visits Himari's house along with Ryan. She's watering flowers in her weird red tracksuit, pretending not to see him. He awkwardly apologizes for being a dork, but she says she hasn't forgiven him yet. Himari jokingly adds that if he really wants forgiveness, he'll have to start doing whatever she orders him to do. But before she can give him the first task, Ryan steps in and grabs her ears, forcing her to come clean to Yu. Eventually, Himari admits that she lied about going to Tokyo and bends down to apologize to him. Although stunned, Yu forgives her instantly, saying she's the most important person in his life. Himari is so embarrassed by his words that she drenches herself with water to cool down. She then reveals that watching him make accessories turns her on, so she wants him to resume the business right away. After this, Himari jumps on his back and starts flirting with him like usual, finally ending the rift between them. Elsewhere at the airport, Ryan's elder sister Kureha arrives, and Shinji, out of all people, comes to pick her up. He asks if she's here to meet Ryan, but Kureha makes it clear that she actually wants to confront Himari, who turned down her offer earlier. Several years back, when Yu was walking with a new friend, Himari popped up and teased him for finding a new buddy so quickly. She also pointed out that his coat looked nice and asked where he got it. Before Yu could answer, the other boy laughed and said he wore his sister's coat. That moment broke the tension, and from then on, the three of them began spending time together like a small, weird little trio. But then, just before Christmas, that same friend asked Yu for a disgusting favor. He wanted to spend Christmas with Himari alone. Yu didn't know what to say, so he just agreed, thinking maybe they'd make a good couple. To avoid suspicion, he even lied to Himari, telling her the school's Christmas event was canceled. On Christmas Day, Yu still went to the exhibit by himself, quietly setting up his flower display while trying not to think too much about what the other two might be doing. During lunch, he sat with his teacher, Yumi, who noticed how lost he looked. Yu asked her what she would do if her friend chose to hang out with someone else instead of her. Yumi smiled and said that friendships were like growing flowers. When you plant different kinds together, they can still bloom beautifully. After lunch, while Yu was resting at his table, he suddenly heard a familiar voice. Himari was standing there, looking at him like she'd caught him registering for OnlyFans. She said she went out with that boy, but the day was a total disaster. Apparently, he confessed his feelings to her, and she turned him down on the spot. She then told Yu that she only agreed to meet him because the boy said Yu would be there too. Yu admitted he had helped set it up, thinking they might work out, but Himari says she already knew the weirdo was just using Yu to get close to her. The realization hit Yu like a ton of bricks, and Himari told him not to trust people so easily. As they walked around the room, Himari noticed one of Yu's accessory designs, a sunflower wreath. She asked if he made it for her. Yu panicked and said it was just a coincidence, though it wasn't. Sunflower translated to Himari in Japanese, and he designed it with her in mind. In the present, Himari arrives at school and spots Yu ahead of her, completely focused on his phone. She rushes toward him like a raging bull, yelling his name, but he dodges her hug without even looking up. He's texting Ryan and doesn't even notice that Himari's talking to him. When she grows annoyed, she changes the topic and suggests that they should sleep together someday. The idea makes Yu freeze in place, and Himari teases him for getting nervous, asking if he's thinking of her in that way. Right then, Ryan suddenly appears, lifts up Himari like a toy, and leads Yu away from there. She throws a playful wink at Himari as they walk away together, leaving her completely speechless. Later that day, Rian demands to be fed lunch like a dog, and Yu hesitantly complies as it turns out he had texted her earlier, begging for help because Himari was getting too close, and he was worried he might lose control of his feelings. While they're eating, Ryan snatches the usual juice from Yu's hand and gives him another one, saying the first one will remind him of Himari. He then casually asks why he doesn't just date her if he likes her so much. Yu acts all Giga Chad says he's not ready, because his dream of opening an accessory shop comes first. Ryan calls him selfish, but admits that his honesty is exactly what she likes about him. After school, Yu goes to the garden again, where Himari suddenly jumps on him from behind, causing him to nearly edge out. She demands that he come shopping with her to buy a swimsuit for summer break. Yu finds the idea inappropriate as he doesn't want to see her in seductive clothing, but then he suddenly remembers that they did last year as well. Later, a desperate Yu texts Rian for help, and the first thing she does is lift him up in the air with her classic move. She's clearly angry that he's accompanying Himari to go swimsuit shopping with her. Ryan urges him to decline if he's so bothered about it, but Yu says he can't do it because Himari is his best friend. Upon hearing this, Ryan sighs and says she's busy with band practice, so he's on his own. At the mall, Himari drags Yu to the swimsuit section while he looks like he's about to pass some kidney stones. He tries to escape, but she grabs his tie before he can run. She says she wants his help because she wants to pick something he'd actually like. After choosing 2 swimsuits, she goes to the fitting room and teases him, saying she's wearing something more revealing underneath. She then peeks through the curtains and starts slowly pulling him towards her. Afraid of losing his emotions, Yu bolts straight out of the store and runs home without looking back. When Yu gets home, Sakura tells him a visitor is waiting. It's none other than Rian's older sister Kureha, who introduces herself and says she already knows about Yu's dream. She then unexpectedly says that she has come here to take Himari along with her. On the other hand, a fed-up Himari confronts Shinji at the school court, who's all sweaty from busy practicing tennis. She throws a ball straight at his head and accuses him of putting random thoughts into Yu's mind. After some back and forth, Shinji promises that he has nothing to do with Yu's odd behavior and that Kureha has already taken care of him. Elsewhere, Kureha reveals that Himari once applied to join Kureha's modeling agency in Tokyo, but backed out at the last moment. Kureha now wants Himari to reconsider and asks Yu to convince her. To tempt him, she offers money and even promises to find him a professional model from her agency for his designs. Yu immediately refuses, saying Himari isn't some object to be sold and that his dream only matters if she's part of it. But Kureha smirks and mocks him, calling him naive and saying he's holding Himari back from real success. She tells him he's not as talented as he thinks and asks if maybe the real reason he won't let Himari go is because he likes her. She then offers a deal. Yu can come with them to Tokyo, but that would mean abandoning his dream shop forever. At this tense moment, Hibari bursts into the room in his signature tuxedo suit. He tells Kureha to stop manipulating Yu, but since the two used to date, she shows him an explicit video on her phone and threatens to leak it. Hibari somehow gets a hold of her phone, but Kureha laughs and reveals that she has several backups. In the end, she proposes a challenge instead. She tells Yu to create a masterpiece accessory by August with the theme Memories of Summer. If he can impress her, she'll back off, otherwise she will blackmail Himari with debt and force her to work in the agency. Without thinking much, Yu accepts the challenge, as he realizes this isn't just about accessories anymore. It's about proving that his bond with Himari is worth more than fame or money. After learning the full truth about Kureha's challenge, Himari becomes furious. She declares that she will go and personally decline the offer, insisting her brother should cover any expenses that follow. But Hibari refuses to take responsibility anymore, saying everything that's happening is because of her lie about going to Tokyo. An annoyed Sakura then explains that Kureha is an evil witch who can go to any extent to get what she wants. Himari claims that if she runs away, things will calm down, but Sakura warns her that Kureha isn't the kind of person to let things go. She could even open her own store right next to Yu's, just to compete with them. Later, Yu is at school slowly sipping his favorite drink while overthinking one of life's greatest debates: whether Messi or Ronaldo is truly the GOAT. He also realizes that he can't just sit around and needs to take action about this Kureha situation. Just then, Himari appears and tells him she wants to take him somewhere to find inspiration. Yu is shocked by how carefree she sounds despite everything that's going on, but Himari stays calm, saying she believes in him. She even adds that if he loses, she'll join Kureha's agency and simply quit on the first day. Yu tells her that if she does that, she'll have to drop out of school, but Himari is fine with that as long as he takes care of her for life. Her words make Yu blush, and he almost creams his pants in the heat of the moment. Their playful moment is cut short when Sakura suddenly shows up, grabs Himari by the face, and says they need to go look for inspiration right now. Shortly after, the three of them arrive at a restaurant to have lunch and brainstorm ideas for their next project. Himari suggests that Yu should photograph beautiful flowers to get design inspiration. Yu agrees that it could save time, and Himari excitedly volunteers to help with the ideas too. She then starts describing a cute story, but it soon turns suggestive, so Yu shoves a pancake in her mouth to stop her from continuing. Now it's Ryan's turn, but she simply says that any story will turn out fine as long as Yu is with her. The two girls then become hostile and almost get into an argument, but Yu yells at them to focus. He eventually decides the best way to find inspiration is by experiencing summer memories firsthand. The three of them then take a train trip to the beach, and as soon as they arrive, the girls start playing in the water while Yu snaps pictures of them like a creep. One thing leads to another, and the girls start arguing about their melon sizes, with Rishin clearly having the upper hand. Yu records all of this from a distance so that he has enough content for tonight's nutting session. After cooling off at a convenience store with ice cream, Yu looks through the photos but feels unsatisfied. The pictures are cute, but they look more like promotional ads and lack emotion. Just then, he notices two kids playing outside and suddenly gets an idea. He tells the girls he wants to visit a certain place the next day. They end up going to Yu's old flower arrangement school, where his former teacher, Miss Yumi, is busy playing video games with a bunch of kids. She greets him warmly and then hands him an album filled with old photos. One picture shows Yu and Himari in middle school, working together on a design. Ryan carefully observes it and comments that Himari actually looked cute with long hair. Yumi then theorizes that Himari keeps her hair short these days because Yu likes it that way. Upon hearing this, Rian becomes jealous and says she will cut her hair short as well. But Yu panics and assures her that he likes her the way she is. Soon after, Miss Yumi invites them to try flower arranging, thinking it might spark inspiration. Ryan eagerly agrees, but Himari says she'll just watch since she's quite useless at art. She then sits by the balcony and observes the two while listening to the gentle sound of wind chimes. On the other hand, the flower arranging session begins. Ryan struggles at first, but Yu guides her through the process, and she ends up doing it perfectly. Himari watches them quietly and feels a bit envious because Rian managed to get a hang of it so quickly. Later, Himari sits beside Miss Yumi, who gently asks if she likes Yu. Himari implies that she does and has been doing for years. When Yumi asks if she's okay with Ryan liking him too, Himari denies being bothered, but her expression says otherwise. Soon after, Yu approaches them and reveals that he's decided to make his masterpiece based on sunflowers. He shows an old sunflower wreath design he once made for Himari, explaining that it represents her. She immediately recognizes it and starts smiling like a meth addict, but then Yu reveals that it was actually Ryan who came up with the idea, not him. Himari's expression instantly changes, though she doesn't say anything at the moment. The tension is only broken when Yumi suggests that a sunflower festival is being held nearby, and they should visit it. The trio agrees, but Ryan stays behind to help her family business, leaving the two alone. A few days later on the train, Yu sits behind Himari so he can see the color of her straps. She suddenly gets up and asks if he likes Ryan more than her. Yu doesn't know how to answer because he actually likes Himari, but can't admit it outright. When he gets too uncomfortable, Himari smirks and says she was only teasing him. After that, she decides to go buy some tea for the both of them. At the vending machine, Himari remembers what Shinji once told her, that if she truly wants Yu to be hers, she should take him with her to Tokyo. At the time, she thought he was joking, but now she realizes he was right. Yu would give up his dreams for her if she asked. She knows he's kind, but she also feels that maybe Ryan is the better person for him. When they finally reach the sunflower field, Yu becomes enchanted by the sight of thousands of golden flowers swaying in the breeze. He runs around excitedly like a kid who's just watched some Smash tapes for the first time. Yu eventually selects a few flowers, but he's not satisfied, and continues looking for more. Himari also follows behind and tries to talk to him, but he ignores him completely. Fed up with his behavior, she whispers her confession and turns away, but Yu manages to hear it and thinks she's joking. He lightly scolds her for saying such serious things playfully, but this only makes her furious. Himari runs off into the field, feeling frustrated that he never understands her feelings. As she runs, she feels the tears coming and gets angry at herself for not being able to express what she truly feels. Yu chases after her and finally finds her sitting among the flowers, catching her breath. Without a word, Himari gives him the sunflower bracelet he had made for her. Then she leans forward and suddenly kisses him, finally making it clear that she wasn't joking. Yu carefully packs up the sunflowers he collected from the field, gently arranging them so the petals don't get damaged. But as he glances at Himari's ring, the memory of their kiss hits him again. Unable to understand why she kissed him, Yu becomes so paranoid that he starts talking to the flowers. Just then, Shinji shows up and catches him talking to the plants like a crack addict. Yu immediately asks if he's part of Kureha's team, but Shinji denies it, explaining that while Kureha had requested some help, she ended up acting on her own. He also admits that the real reason he's close to her is because he has a crush on her. Yu is stunned by the revelation, but before he can make fun of him, Shinji casually mentions that he overheard Yu talking to the flowers about his kiss with Himari. He then asks if Yu had the balls to confess his feelings to her, but the loser shakes his head shamelessly. Shinji laughs but says that Yu should focus on the competition first and deal with his heart later. Meanwhile, Himari is in her room, tasting some dumplings she cooked. But she gets so carried away that she ends up finishing everything, leaving nothing for her brother. Himari then starts panicking about the kiss and wonders how she'll even face Yu. Before she can figure it out, her brother Hibari knocks on the door and asks to come in. She tries to dodge him by opening the window, but he's already standing outside waiting. With nowhere to run, she admits how she suddenly kissed Yu during their trip. Hibari appears to be more understanding this time, and he praises her for being brave enough to be honest about her feelings. After the short speech, he heads to the kitchen, only to freak out when he learns that his sister has eaten all the food. The next day, Yu works in the lab, carefully soaking the sunflowers in water to preserve their color. Ryan joins him for lunch and confronts him about the kiss, revealing that Shinji has already told her. Yu feels embarrassed about the whole thing, but says he will finally confess his feelings to Himari after the competition. Ryan responds that even if Yu and Himari start dating, she won't give up on him. She'll just become Himari's best friend so that she can stay close enough to share Yu someday. Yu doesn't know whether to laugh or worry about that, as he's seen a lot of corn movies with the same storyline. Right after she leaves, Himari enters the lab and tries to interact with Yu awkwardly. He tells her that after what happened yesterday, there's something important he wants to say, but only after he beats Kureha. He then focuses on work and reveals that he's planning to make a sunflower tiara, which makes her really happy. Later, Yu, Himari, and Rion grab dinner together at a small restaurant. They discuss their plans for the upcoming festival, and it soon becomes clear that both the girls will be busy with their families. That leaves Yu worried about where he'll continue his accessory work since Sakura keeps bothering him at home. Thankfully, Himari offers her house, saying her brother Hibari will be around too. During the school break, Yu works at Himari's house, spending hours focused on his accessory while Hibari keeps dropping by with food. By the end of the day, he finally completes his sunflower tiara, and everyone praises how beautiful it looks. The next morning, however, disaster strikes. When Yu opens the accessory box, he finds that the sunflower petals have dried out, and the tiara looks lifeless. He realizes that he miscalculated the preservation process and took the petals out of the solution way too early. Hibari also sees the damage and suggests that they go out to get some new sunflowers, but since he's too drunk to drive, they end up taking a taxi in the middle of the night. A few days later, Himari is back home, resting on Yu's lap, while he has just finished recreating the tiara from scratch. When Hibari comes in and notices Yu's passion, he almost becomes moist down there. Later that day, Yu finally submits his tiara in front of a large audience at home. As soon as Kureha opens the box, she is impressed by how beautiful the accessory looks. Yu becomes delighted, thinking he may have just won, but then Kureha says it's still not enough. She explains that although it looks good on the outside, it feels rushed and lacks soul. Yu tries to argue, but she berates him for trying to trick her with a replacement at the last second. This finally makes Yu realize that she knows about the ruined tiara, and Kureha reveals that Sakura told her everything. After she leaves with Ryan, Yu angrily confronts his sister, asking why she ratted on him. Sakura calmly says she only told Kureha the truth because Yu has been acting unserious about his craft lately. To prove her point, she opens a box filled with his older accessories, the ones students returned, and tells him to take a good look. Yu examines them closely and realizes the quality really has gone down. The pieces are uneven, some flowers have wilted, and the craftsmanship is pathetic. Sakura claims that before Yu used to pour his heart into every detail, but now he's distracted. She tells him he's treating his art like a side game, and his customers are the ones suffering because of it. Sakura also says that he's no longer worthy of being called a creator if he can't take his own craft seriously. Hurt and humiliated, Yu lowers his head, while Hibari instructs his sister that it's time to head home. The next day, Himari meets Shinji and tells him she has no plans to join Kureha's agency despite her recent success. But Shinji advises her to reconsider, saying she has the looks and charisma to become popular and that one day she could use that fame to help Yu's business. He says if she really loves Yu, she should build something of her own first. Himari listens silently, torn between her feelings and her dreams. Shinji adds that if she still feels the same after years apart, he'll fully support her in getting Yu back. Later that evening, Himari visits Yu and they spend some romantic time by the river. She tells him not to cheat on her while she's away, but Yu jokes that they aren't even dating yet. Himari smiles and says that once she becomes a real model, she'll promote his accessories everywhere. Yu, who's torn between asking her to stay and supporting her decision, says he could come with her if she wanted. But Himari shakes her head, saying she loves how dedicated he is and doesn't want him to abandon his flower dream for her. He then takes her hand, and they promise that even if they go separate ways, they'll keep working hard for the future they once dreamed about together. The next morning, Ryan wakes up late, taking advantage of her free day since her club has no activities. She plans to relax and cool off, but her mother calls her downstairs and asks her to make a delivery to Shinji's house because her sister isn't around. Ryan reluctantly agrees, though she would have wanted to spend her free time watching the latest season of Squid Game. At Shinji's place, she finds him at the tennis court, giggling to himself like a maniac. It turns out he's happy because Himari's leaving, so Ryan can finally get close to Yu. But Ryan doesn't want to win this way and urges him to stop her sister from taking Himari away. At first he refuses, saying he can do nothing about it. Then Ryan starts boosting his ego, saying if he manages to outsmart Kureha, he might finally impress her. This finally convinces Shinji and he agrees to help Ryan out, but he warns that it will push Yu further away from her. Ryan responds that she doesn't mind because she's certain she'll win his heart someday. Elsewhere, Hibari receives a call from someone, asking her for a favor. At the same time, Yu is watering the plants at school all by himself. He looks devastated, realizing that once Himari leaves, the gardening club will feel empty. As he stares at the flowers, he reminds himself that she'll return someday, but deep down, he can't shake the fear that maybe she won't. Just then, Shinji shows up out of nowhere like a wild Pokemon. He tells Yu that he should consider following Himari to Tokyo like the last time. Yu responds that it's a completely different situation now because she's pursuing her dream to support their future store. But Shinji tells Yu that if he really loves Himari, he should just quit making childish accessories and live a normal life with her. Shinji adds that Yu probably doesn't even love Himari, he's just using her to promote his stupid business. That comment cuts deep and Yu becomes so angry that he grabs Shinji and shouts that he loves Himari deeply. He then pushes Shinji to the ground and runs off to find her, while Shinji smiles as he has cleverly played his part. As Yu keeps running, memories of Himari flash through his mind, their laughter, her encouragement, the quiet moments they shared. He whispers to himself that all he wants is for her to keep looking at him the way she always does. Even when the idiot slips and scrapes his leg, he doesn't stop and keeps running like Forrest Gump. Meanwhile, Himari is at the station when she receives a text from Kureha saying she's stuck in traffic. The delay gives her time to think, and she recalls what Kureha once told her, that her beauty could take her far and that she could use it to support Yu. But as she stands there, she realizes that what matters most to her isn't fame or beauty, it's the time she spent with Yu. Tears fill her eyes as she admits quietly that she doesn't want anything else. She just wants Yu to love her. Just then, Ryan arrives and Himari assumes she came to say goodbye. But Ryan jokingly says she came to thank because once Himari leaves, Yu will be hers. She then asks if Yu's dream means more to her than her feelings. Himari says yes, because helping Yu chase his dream is the only way she can truly support him. But Ryan presses her again, asking if that's what she really wants. Himari snaps that what she wants doesn't matter anymore. Rion sighs and tells her that she'll take her place and go to Tokyo instead on one condition. Himari must promise to give Yu to her when she comes back. That makes Himari freeze as she can't believe Ryan would suggest something like that. But Ryan just smiles like a demon, saying at least this way Himari can finally admit she doesn't want to let go. Overwhelmed with emotion, Himari breaks down crying, hugging Ryan tightly and confessing she doesn't want to leave Yu. Ryan holds her against her boulders and explains that dreams are important, but not at the cost of happiness. She assures Himari that Yu doesn't value his dream more than her. Just then, Yu appears, panting and covered in sweat. He rushes over to Himari and pleads with her not to go. Yu admits that he doesn't know whether to choose her or his dream, but he certainly doesn't want to lose her. He also makes it clear that they don't need any dream to be together because if she's not in his life, there's no life at all. Before Himari can say anything, Kureha arrives and reminds them of the deal. Yu begs for another chance, but Kureha refuses, saying she already gave him one and that Himari owes her. That's when Shinji appears from a nearby balcony and tosses a bag of cash at her. Like a certain Colombian narcotic lord, he announces that he'll pay off Himari's debt himself. Seconds later, Hibari also pulls up in his car and Shinji reveals that he signed a contract with Hibari to borrow money. Kureha realizes she's been outplayed and accuses Shinji of betrayal, but he calmly points out that she had refused his help earlier, so this is just him returning the favor. Furious, Kureha storms toward Hibari's car and kicks it a few times in frustration before finally leaving with him. Everyone stands silent for a moment. Then Shinji laughs and says now that the chaos is over, they should celebrate. Because he helped them, they owe him big time, so he lists out a list of conditions. He tells them that no one is allowed to move to Tokyo until graduation, and that they should keep working together and focus on their dreams. Everyone glares at him, but Shinji just grins and says they should all go eat to celebrate. They then end up at a sushi restaurant, where Shinji and Ryan stuff their faces like they've just survived a famine, while Himari looks horrified at the growing bill. Later that evening, as Yu and Himari are walking home, he suddenly says he's quitting everything. Himari stares at him in shock, but Yu explains that his sister helped him realize that he's been so focused on opening a store that he forgot why he started in the first place. Back in school, he used to handle every flower with care, trying to preserve its life, but over time, that passion faded. He says he wants to dream even bigger now, not just about a store, but about creating something meaningful, and he wants Himari to be part of it. Yu also vows that he'll never let her sacrifice anything for his sake again. Himari's cheeks flush at his words, and before she can react, Yu bursts out laughing, teasing her for blushing just like she used to around him. A few days later, the two are back at school, tending to the garden. Himari teases Yu to say how much he loves her, but when she leans too close, they trip and fall together. Yu then looks right into her eyes and confesses that he loves her a lot. They get so excited that they almost kiss, but Ryan and Shinji show up, ruining their moment. Thankfully, it's not all bad, as Ryan has brought some homemade cookies and the four of them laugh and eat together under the bright summer sky. If you want us to cover similar anime, comment flower below. Until then, subscribe, like, and share this video with all your friends.